Mishaal, you're an ethical hacker. How is hacking ethical?
Let's first define hacking. Hacking is the process of dissecting anything, dissecting a process, whether it's software, hardware, even the mind. You can hack the mind. Anyone who dissects a process is a hacker.
Apple versus Android. Where do you see in your hacking experience people are getting hacked more? In iPhones or in Android?
People are definitely getting hacked more because the ecosystem is pretty secure by default. You can make the system even more secure, but it's not secure by default.
What does social engineering mean?
So it's human hacking. It's hacking the mind. Instead of hacking hardware or systems, I'm hacking the human mind. It means imitating someone else, fooling you into thinking someone I'm not, and then extracting something from that process. You got to be careful on how much of your life you put into your phones, because by default, I can guarantee you it is neither secure nor private.
Do they have access to all your data?
Every time you install a new app, look at all the prompts you get. May I have access to all of your contact, your location, your GPS, your camera? The app can now spy on you based on all of these things because you've legally given it permission to do so.
Mishaal, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
Mishaal, you're an ethical hacker. How is hacking ethical?
Let's first define hacking. Hacking is the process of dissecting anything, dissecting a process, whether it's software, hardware, or even the mind. You can hack the mind. So anyone who dissects a process is a hacker. Now you can be ethical. It means you're not violating any boundaries. You're not doing something that's either illegal or will hurt someone's feelings or will put someone in harm. So if you're not doing that, you're ethical. If you are, you're unethical.
You've highlighted the difference between an ethical hacker and an unethical hacker. When you're working with organizations, companies effectively hire you to hack their systems. Explain how that process works and what do you do once you hack the systems? How does the whole pipeline work?
Sure, like companies will come to me and give me a problem. We have a problem in security. I think we can be hacked or we can't be. So we test their security by hacking them and we mimic actual hackers, yet we have boundaries. So we won't do everything a hacker does. We do almost everything and we have boundaries, like we're not going to destroy their systems. We're not going to cause problems with their employees. We won't cause them reputation damage. We won't do anything illegal like impersonating law enforcement. We won't give them bribes. So there's so many things we won't do, and yet we will still be successful in the hacking process. Once phase one is done and we've hacked them, or maybe we didn't succeed, yet we did a lot of steps to try to hack them. The second step is, all right, how do we fix this? You found a gap, give us a report on how do I prevent this from happening again. So that's the full picture of what an ethical hacker would do.
What you mentioned is also pretty interesting, right? Like a normal hacker would use all the other things that an ethical hacker is not using, right? So your journey to hacking is more difficult than and a normal hacker wouldn't care. He wouldn't care if employees are fighting amongst each other. He wouldn't care impersonating a law officer. Okay? So how close does ethical hacking come to real hacking? Like if an ethical hacker takes 10 days to hack, for example, how much time is a real hacker going to take?
Great question, because a real hacker doesn't have boundaries. So they will sometimes have an infinite amount of budget if it's state-sponsored.
Right.
We won't have all that budget. We can only do it for 1 week because we can't pay our guys too much. Time-wise, some hackers take 3-4 months, sometimes years. They are in your environment until they are discovered. And then they kind of perform their attack. They're just laying low. We can't do that. We're only there for a couple of days and then the engagement is over. So yeah, sure, there's a lot of boundaries. So we mimic hackers, say, all right, we only had 1 week and we got maybe 50% of the way. If we were to have like more time, we probably would have gotten in. So there's a lot of probability that comes in the way. And we mentioned this in the report. We got in, but it would have been worse if we had more time. And that goes into the risk profile. That this is how risky we feel it is. And this is why you should take these steps to mitigate those risks.
Okay, there are companies which are approaching you. And then there are also companies which have bounty programs. They are like, we welcome you to come hack us and we are going to pay you money to hack us, right? Which are the biggest companies which have these bounty amounts and how big are these bounties?
Yeah, so let me slightly correct you on that. They won't pay you to come hack them, they will only pay you if you are successful in hacking them. So bug bounties aren't for everyone. They're not for a person like me. It's not worth my time.
Okay.
I want a company to pay me whether I'm successful or not.
Got it.
Pay me for that 1 week of time that I did my penetration testing. Here's the report. Here's a full-on solution on how to protect yourself from it as well. A bug bounty has none of those things. A bug bounty says there's a potential bug in this login screen, and if you can find it, the bounty is $10,000. If you can't find it, it's zero. And by the way, we don't want the full report. Just tell us how you did it. We'll solve it ourselves. So it's not for everyone. It's not for the more senior professional community, I want to say. It's more for people who are trying and testing out their luck and there's different skills, and they need a testing zone. They can go there and have at it in a safe environment where the company has allowed them to hack with no boundaries.
Wow.
So a lot of big companies are doing it.
No boundaries, so they can do whatever you mentioned earlier.
Yep. And they will have those rules of engagement.
Yeah.
They will have published, here's the rules of engagement. So there are slight boundaries. And the boundaries are just like, don't put the entire system down. Like, don't crash our systems. Here's your goal, find a bug, which is somewhere here. So they'll give you a loose structure of what we're looking for. Like, can you get past a login screen? Just do that. Don't bring the whole system down. So if you do bring the whole system down and break it, you're not going to get anything out of it.
Of course.
In fact, it may be criminal in some cases as well.
You call yourself a social engineering specialist. What does social engineering mean to people who are watching this episode?
So it's human hacking. It's hacking the mind. So me, instead of hacking code, instead of hacking hardware or systems, I'm hacking the human mind. What does that mean? It means deception. It means imitating someone else, fooling you into thinking someone I'm not, and then extracting something from that process. Like you see all these scammers saying, this is the police, and if you don't pay us in time, we're going to do whatever, arrest you, or expose you, or I'm your boss calling. I will clone someone's voice and say, this is someone's boss. That's social engineering, because I'm affecting your mind and making you do something that you would normally not do. That is the definition of social engineering.
We are right now in Dubai, and this is a common scam that people face all the time. They would get calls from, hi, this is the Dubai police calling. We found so-and-so issue with your thing. Share with us your Emirates ID. And they go one step further. Because they have your number, they input the number on the Dubai police website, right? And to show that they're authentic, that message comes with that OTP. Once you provide the OTP, that's a whole other game. But they use that to authenticate themselves in a way. Now, not everyone falls for it, but some people have fallen for it, and that compromises their whole system. What's your take on this right now? And how can people prevent themselves from this?
Yeah, so what scammers are using is a combination of social engineering that we mentioned, affecting your mind. But before they use social engineering, they use legitimate data against you. So they do OSINT, or open source intelligence, to find out everything about their target, which is you. Your phone number, where you live, your name, and a little bit about your social media, maybe, whatever they can see on the open internet. Then they'll use that to run the scam so that it's more believable. Us as individuals need to know that this data exists. Like, if someone knows your date of birth or your, where you live, that's not rocket science. Like, it's easily obtainable through a Google search or social media search. So know that it shouldn't be surprising if some random person calls you and tells you information about you. Sure, that's open source intelligence. Now they're going to use this against you. My advice to avoiding most of these scams is to slow down, calm down. Nothing is urgent in life. Everything can be taken after a deep breath, and hang up the phone. Think about what you're doing before you do it, because once you do it, it's over. The scam is done and you've been fooled. So just pause. That's probably the best advice I could give right now.
Open source intelligence has made it very easy for hackers to gain information. Some people have pets, right? And one of the security questions that is asked if you forget your password is, what's the name of your pet? What is your name of your school? And people actually go out and give the real information of the pet and the real information of the school. Yeah. So as a hacking expert, tell people what they should do when they get security questions like these.
Yeah, that's a good one, because for years people have been truthful in these things. And I tell people to lie sometimes to protect yourself. And these are not lies. These are white lies, or you're lying to a system, not a person. Yeah. So when a system asks you, what was your first school or your first teacher's name or whatever, open your password manager, put that answer in there. And it should be something random. What was your teacher's first name? I don't know, elephant. What was the first street you live in? Type in something random. It could be just 6-digit numbers, another password basically. Yeah. So what you're doing is essentially creating more passwords out of that second phase of authentication. And how will you remember all of this? Well, use a password manager. If you're not, use it today, because this is one of the benefits of a password manager. You don't need to remember all these complicated things in life to access systems. Let the password manager remember it for you.
I love what you're saying, right? But here's my question to you. And in the previous podcast also, someone had mentioned that they use a separate email ID for every site. Think Instagram, separate email ID, separate password, right? And it's all stored in your password manager. What if your password manager gets hacked?
So before you do all of this, make sure your password manager is secure before you're putting all your eggs in one basket. So a strong password, which comes with a passphrase. Don't just try to make it complicated, make it longer. Because the longer your password is, the harder it is to crack. Have your password like the lyrics to a song, or a long sentence with a few complications in it, not too much. So now it's something you can remember. It's 20, 30, 40 characters long because it's a sentence. And so now it's very hard to crack. And then have a phase 2 to it, which is multi-factor authentication, or MFA, where you get an SMS code or another app you need for that 6-digit rolling code, or you need a hardware key physically with you to insert in a computer to get to that second phase. A combination of these two is sufficient for you not to get hacked, or your password manager not to get hacked. One step further to that is have a backup of your password manager. You can keep an offline version of your password manager, export all the passwords in your password manager, and keep it in an external hard drive. This, so if you can't get in or someone hacked you and you're locked out, at least you have an offline copy of all of your hundreds or thousands of passwords.
I'm glad you brought up two-factor authentication. And people use multiple ways, like you mentioned. Sometimes they use their phone. Sometimes nowadays even WhatsApp messages are coming for second two-factor authentication. Sometimes they're getting an email, and at other times as they're using apps. Out of these two-factor authentications, tell me the most safest to the most riskiest. Like rank the safest to the riskiest.
Easy. The weakest of these second factor authentication is SMS, because SMS can be transferred. I can call up, Etisalat or Duo or whatever, and convince them that I am you. Please transfer his number to my new phone. Here's the IMEI number. It's called a SIM swapping attack. So transferring your phone number on my new device is not very hard. So since that can be bypassed, it's the weakest. Email, again, is also one of the weakest, because emails can be hacked, and now I can get your second factor. That app is very secure. The authenticator apps, many products make it, like a Google Authenticator or Bitwarden Authenticator. Use those because you have to have it physically installed on your phone, and it has the rolling code, 6-digit rolling code. It changes every 30 seconds or so. That is the preferred way to do it. If you want to go even more secure, the most secure is a hardware key. Something like a YubiKey, where you need physical access to it. No one can do it remotely. No one can make you even plug it in remotely. Someone can ask you for that 6-digit code and do social engineering over the phone and say, hey, we just messaged you that 6-digit code, or look at your app and give me that code. They can fool you into saying it. But it's very hard for someone to fool you into saying, put in your USB key in the laptop and touch that little metal part of it. That's how a YubiKey works. If they're making you go through all this process, you're going to catch it. So that's the most secure way. And I keep a YubiKey with me all the time. And I try to enable multi-factor authentication wherever I can, because you can't do it everywhere. But wherever I can, I choose the strongest method. And I work my way down to the weakest method, depending on the website options that they provide me.
The first thing you said, Mishaal, scared me a bit, right? Like you said, because in UAE, most of us are using Duo or Etisalat. And you said that it's easy, that someone can take my number and make it happen. How can people ensure that no one is taking their Duo or Etisalat number and copying it and using it for their own malicious purposes? Give us 3 actionable steps so that people can protect their numbers in the UAE.
Step 1 is to ensure that there's a PIN code assigned to your phone number. So most telecoms will provide you with a 4-digit or 6-digit PIN code before you transfer a number. It's called a SIM PIN number. And you need to enable it sometimes. I'm not familiar too much with what Etisalat and Duo specifically have in that, but most telecoms do. So that's one. Secondly, be cautious of the SMSs that you're getting. Read the stuff. Sometimes it'll clearly say your phone number is about to be transferred. Here's a 6-digit code. Press confirm, yes or no, or provide this to the person asking for it. Read it. It's someone's trying to hack you. Pause, relax, don't go ahead with everything else. And thirdly, don't depend on your phone number for critical things. If you are hacked or when you get hacked, your phone number is no longer in your possession, understand where did you have access to? Was your bank account connected to your phone number? Was your email address connected to it? If you're putting all these critical sensitive data behind a phone number and that gets hacked, maybe you shouldn't be doing that. Maybe use better services, better tools to protect your information.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that, and I'm sure this is very critical information.
It's a mixture of theft and social engineering.
Yeah.
And kids are doing it. It does not require technical know-how. It requires being brave/stupid because they're stealing some of the equipment that telecom uses to transfer numbers. They walk into the stores and they take the iPad that's used to transfer a number. And so that they have admin rights there. So they steal it either, or they convince someone over the phone, a telecom provider who's just doing their job and they're asking you 3 basic questions to transfer a number and maybe an SMS. They're using social engineering. So it's not that hard. The amount of effort it takes is a kid can do it.
Wow, okay. All right, now let's get into another aspect. At GISEC, you ran a live deepfake experiment where you deepfaked a very popular celebrity. Walk us through what you did exactly and how you did it.
Yeah, the scenario starts with me being an entrepreneur and presenting my idea to one of these celebrities who will be my investor. And I get on a quick video call, I see his face, and it's a little bit, jerky, the video. It's not very good, but the audio is perfect. And all he tells me to do is just transfer the initial amount of money, $100,000, and your investment is secure. And I'm like, okay, all of this looks legit. I should do it right now. And I go ahead with the transfer, and I realize that entire scenario was fake. Even though I saw the person's face, that was a deep fake. I heard his voice sounded exactly like him. He gave me clear instructions. I did it, but I lost a lot of money in the process. And I showed the process because this has happened many times in real life. A lot of banks have been hacked because of this, and it's so easy to perform. So then I kind of broke down the hack after that on how easy it is to do.
Wow. How long did it take you, and can a kid perform it?
It took me about 30 minutes to set it up from scratch, to clone the celebrity's voice by taking one of his YouTube videos. 30 seconds of his voice was enough to clone him. And I took a still image of the person, made it talk with the voice that was there. I put a little bit of distortion in the image so that it looked as if he's having bandwidth issues, because I know facial cloning or deepfake technology isn't that accurate. So I kind of blurred it out a little bit so that it looks more believable, that the connection is weak. And the whole scam looked easy. All of it probably done in about 30 to 40 minutes. I was done. And the tools I used were freely available online tools. I think just to speed up the process, I paid $10 online to a tool to do it faster for me, but I could have done it for free as well. But that's all it took. The bar to entry is $5 to $10 and really no technical skills at all.
That's scary, and the fact is these deepfake tools are getting better, right? Like, I think AI, when it first launched, like AI generated videos and stuff, they weren't able to get human elements right. For example, initially you would see the eyes would be pointed this way. Now they have gotten the eyes kind of right. Something that they're still struggling with is to get the definition of fingers or even toenails. Some people are able to just look at images and be like, hey, it's AI generated. I was asking, how do you know it's AI generated? They are like, look at the toenails. They're not perfect. Or maybe if an image looks too perfect, it's AI generated because humans have imperfections. Right. So it's crazy how close it is getting to real. And I think soon enough, what you're saying that you have to do in terms of showing bandwidth issues or showing a low quality image, I don't think you even need to do that, right? And once high quality video comes in, I think the market for hackers is going to expand even more.
Yeah.
So how can investors safeguard themselves over here? What can they do?
Awareness through entertainment is how I solve these problems, because you cannot solve these through tools, through more technology. Technology is what's causing the problem. You can't throw more technology to the problem. It's awareness. The more I do this, the more I show people what can be done, how much damage these tools can do in terms of malicious hackers, the better prepared we are to identify the hack. Because the main issue here is identifying it. Once we know, hey, this may be a scam, I think this is a fake video, or I think this call isn't real, now we're in a very good position to actually mitigate it, slow down, and validate it. Because the whole point of hackers is speed. I'm not giving you any chance to think. This is social engineering. I want this done as fast as possible so that you don't think. And that's why my scam will go through. So the solution to this is think. Think about it. Be aware. Like when I do this, people are like, I didn't even know this existed. Like a kid could do this in like 5 minutes with really no cost. Well, now that you know it exists, are you going to be more aware? Yeah, we are.
So even as investors, take a back step. Don't invest on that first call. Is what you're suggesting. Like take a bit more time.
Don't be so gullible.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
Understand technology is going really fast.
Yeah.
Slow down and do things the right way. There's no need to rush.
Absolutely. And even new terms are being introduced these days, right? Like earlier, it just used to be called phishing. Nowadays, there's terms like wishing, which is voice phishing, or even smishing, which is text, SMS phishing. Like what other new trends are we going to see in phishing which didn't exist before?
So you mentioned phishing, there's vishing, voice phishing, there's smishing, SMS phishing, and then there's quishing with a Q, QR code phishing.
Oh, wow.
So people place fake QR codes on top of real QR codes like a sticker, which redirects them to something else, a fake website or a fake app that you're downloading. So that's quishing. And when the next hack comes along, it's going to have another something ishing next to it.
The way the world is heading, I think awareness is needed, man. Imagine, Mishaal, I am an employee at Apple. How would you go about hacking me?
I would know everything about you, your personal life first. I would do my OSINT. And then I would understand where your weaknesses are. And then I would try to hack you based on what exists about you online. So I would look at your online portals, maybe an employee account. Maybe you're using Gmail or Hotmail or whatever. I would try to log into those services and see where it leads me. And then social media, I would attack all these other vectors I could. And then maybe your phone number is publicly available online. I would try to call that, try SIM swapping, try to reset your passwords, look at breached data and maybe find old passwords and which you're still reusing. I would have all these ways to attack. I would try all of them. Whichever one works first, fine. And that would be my phase one. If that doesn't work, all of that, and that would take me about an hour or two, I would move on to more complicated attacks or less.
Okay.
Well, if it's me, probably 5 minutes, but a normal hacker, 1 hour.
Okay.
And then I wouldn't give up because that's only a matter of time. Then I would spend a few more hours, try more advanced techniques, more social engineering. That's a little bit more advanced. And then even if that doesn't work, create customized phishing websites based on your interests, which I got from your Facebook group or your Instagram page or whatever. So I would go deeper and deeper into your life, trying to find that one thing that would hack you. So I would have a goal and I would reach that goal. It would just be a matter of time at that moment.
So suppose if I like sneakers, you'd create an entire fake sneaker website.
I would give you an offer that you cannot resist about sneakers. Here's a 90% discount valid only today. Act on it right now. Click on the link. Don't let this opportunity go. And you would, because it is your favorite brand of sneakers.
Oh, wow, man. Okay. Apple versus Android, right? The iOS operating system versus the Android operating system. And I want to take this thread because we're speaking about this. The iOS system is very restrictive, right? It doesn't allow us to do a lot of things. You can only download apps from the iOS store, whereas Android is a bit more free. Where do you see in your hacking experience people are getting hacked more? In iPhones or in Android? What's the stats?
People are definitely getting hacked more on the Android side of things because the Apple ecosystem is pretty secure by default. You can make the Android system even more secure, but it's not secure by default. Your most common user is using default settings for everything. And that's why most of the cases of hacking that I see are by far Android devices. My personal Android device is not a typical Android device. I use something called Graphene OS, which is a privacy-focused, de-Googled Android device. So that's a completely different case. It fulfills my security requirements and my privacy requirements, but I have to forego some of the usability and functionality requirements with it. But that's a balance I'm willing to adjust to.
What are you foregoing to ensure privacy?
All the Google services, the notification services, I don't get proper calendar services. The email services don't work on it, so I use Proton email in it. A lot of the calling apps or chatting apps don't work, so I stick to privacy-based apps like Signal and a few others. A lot of the default systems don't work right on it simply because they call home a lot, and my phone doesn't allow any traffic to call home continuously. Calling home meaning they call to the Apple ecosystem headquarters or the Google systems to give more data. And that's what I'm trying to prevent, that data leakage. So in that process, functionality decreases a little bit. But at the end of the day, I say a phone is for communications, basic communications, to make a call, video call, chat, that's it. It's not to live my entire life on. That's where my computer comes into place. And I have much more control over my computer, what goes on it or in it, and all the traffic through it than my phone does. Because a phone is essentially a tracking device with GPS, with all the sensors in it. You got to be careful on how much of your life you put into your phones, because by default, I can guarantee you it is neither secure nor private.
Wow. Okay. And all these apps on phones, do they have access to all your data?
By default, yeah. Every time you install a new app, look at all the prompts you get. May I have access to all of your contacts? Sure. Does it really need access to your contact list, your hundreds of contacts? Probably not. It asks for access to location, your GPS, all the other sensors within your phone, like your light sensors, your camera, front and back camera. The app can now spy on you based on all of these things because you've legally given it permission to do so. So next time you're giving apps permissions, if it's not a location-based app, if it's not an Uber or Careem or whatever app, don't give it GPS permissions. Just say no, block, deny GPS. If it's a weather-based app, why does it need camera, front camera access or back camera access? Just say deny. It'll still work. And if it refuses to work, well, if it's a shady app, then its goal is data harvesting. And also remember the fact that if something is free, you are the product.
Perfect, man. Thank you so much for sharing that. And you're here in GISEC. This is my last question to you. How has your experience been as part of GISEC 2025? What has happened at this event that you truly enjoyed?
It's been great so far, my experience at GISEC, because I've been to conferences all over the world, primarily the larger ones in the US. And what I see different here is it's a mixture of different countries, different technologies. And the vendors are pretty mixed. The talks are from all over the world. And I like interfacing and having conversations with people that I know nothing about, with areas I have no experience in. Most of my background in hacking and OSINT and privacy comes from the US side of things or from the Western world. Asia, Middle East, Africa, those are untapped territories for me, and the technology there is very different. So this is a nice place where under one roof, a lot of things happening, and in 3 days, I didn't even manage to explore 10% of the place. I was so busy, but it's been a great experience, and I will definitely be back.
Thank you so much for sharing all this information. I think to conclude this particular episode, I would like people to get more aware about such issues, right? What are resources that people can follow so that they are not subjected to such scams, such attacks, such deep fakes, or at least they're aware if it's happening to them?
I watch a lot of cybersecurity-based news and tools and YouTube videos primarily, and there's a lot of awareness going on right now. I pay special attention to it, and then I practice it. I try it out and see whether it's easy to do or not, and that gives me confidence and saying, yeah, this is quite easy. Try out the tools. Don't be afraid to test AI-based tools. People are just apprehensive of these things. No, try it out so that you know the capabilities, and then you can defend yourselves from it. And coming to cybersecurity conferences like GISEC is a great way to showcase these tools, to view others, what they're doing, and to talk to people who are experts in this field on how are you doing it, what's the best ways to avoid it. So I think socializing, to increase your social network, will eventually increase your awareness.
It was an honor speaking to you, and thank you for sharing all these insights, because there's a lot of wisdom over here which you have gotten over the years, which I'm sure people will find valuable, and I hope they implement.
My hopes are high, and it was my pleasure.